The cafeteria went quiet the moment she laughed. "Come on, Sergeant, everyone's got a call sign," Admiral Rebecca Holt said playfully, leaning on her cane as the single dad across the table looked up from his mop bucket. He smiled, tired eyes hiding years of something deeper. "You really want to know, ma'am?" he asked softly. She chuckled, expecting a joke. "Sure, hit me." He paused, his voice calm but edged with something unspoken. Viper 1. The Admiral's smile vanished. The mop slipped from his hand, clattering against the tiles, but the sound was drowned out by the sudden silence that fell across the hall. Every soldier, every sailor, and even the Admiral herself knew that call sign. And only one man had earned it, the legend who'd vanished after saving an entire unit at Black Ridge. It was supposed to be a simple life. Daniel Cross, once Captain Daniel Viper 1 Cross of the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, now swept floors in a military academy cafeteria. His hands, once steady on helicopter controls over war-torn mountains, now guided a mop across wax tiles. The world moved on, promotions and medals forgotten, and Daniel had learned to live in the quiet, or at least pretend to. He had a daughter, Emma, 8 years old, a bundle of sunshine with curls and questions. She didn't know much about her father's past, only that he worked hard and smiled when she ran into his arms. Her drawings, stick figures of Daddy the Hero, covered the fridge of their small apartment. He never corrected her. Daniel's days were long but peaceful, until the Academy announced the arrival of Admiral Rebecca Holt, a decorated SEAL commander known for her brutal honesty and unshakable composure. She was there to inspect the training program, to give speeches about courage and leadership. Everyone was excited, everyone except Daniel. He didn't want to be noticed. Not by her, not by anyone. He had buried Viper 1 long ago, beneath the noise of rotor blades and the screams of brothers he couldn't save. That morning, the cafeteria buzzed. Students lined up in formation, cameras flashing. Daniel worked quietly in the corner, his uniform plain, his badge reading maintenance staff. He was invisible, just the way he liked it. But fate has a cruel sense of humor. Admiral Holt walked through, her limp noticeable but her presence commanding. Years ago, she had been part of the same mission, Operation Black Ridge. She remembered every face except one, the pilot who had vanished after saving her team from being wiped out. She gave speeches, handshakes, and laughter. When she stepped into the cafeteria for lunch, she spotted Daniel sitting alone with his lunch tray, his daughter's picture tucked in his wallet. "You there," she said with a friendly grin, "you look like someone who's seen some action. What's your name?" He looked up, calm and polite. "Daniel Cross, ma'am. I just clean up around here." "Oh, come on," she teased. "With those eyes? You're no ordinary janitor. What was your call sign back in the day, soldier?" He didn't answer right away. The silence stretched. Then, softly, like a memory waking from a nightmare, he said, "Viper 1. Every head turned. The Admiral froze. The cafeteria seemed to stop breathing. She stared, color draining from her face. "That's not funny," she said, her voice unsteady. "I wasn't joking, ma'am," he replied quietly. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she whispered, You're him." The next day, Daniel was called to the Admiral's office. He thought about not going. But something told him it was time. When he walked in, Rebecca Holt was standing by the window, the light tracing the scars along her hand. She didn't turn around right away. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" she asked softly. "Because legends don't raise daughters, ma'am," Daniel said. "Fathers do." She turned, eyes wet. "You saved my team. You saved me. We thought you were dead. You just disappeared." "I was," he said simply. "The man you remember, he died out there. I came home to someone who needed me more than the battlefield did." Rebecca nodded slowly, the weight of years falling between them. "You could have had everything: rank, honor, a career." Daniel smiled faintly. "Honor doesn't tuck your kid into bed at night." There was a pause, then a quiet laugh from the Admiral. "You still talk like a leader." But before they could say more, alarms blared through the base. A training helicopter had lost control near the cliffs. Cadets were aboard. Without thinking, Daniel ran. Old instincts returned faster than thought. He raced to the hangar, past stunned cadets, past officers shouting in confusion. "Who authorized this flight?" he barked, his voice suddenly filled with command again. No one answered. He didn't need one. Moments later, he was in the air, hands gripping the controls of an old training chopper. The same hands that once guided men through hell. The radio crackled, "We've lost engine pressure. We're going down." "Hold on," Daniel said. "This is Viper 1, I've got you." Those words, the same words from Black Ridge, echoed across the calms. The Admiral, listening from the ground, felt her throat tighten. She watched as the helicopter steadied, tilting dangerously, then leveling out. Minutes later, both aircraft landed safely. When he stepped out, Daniel's shirt was drenched, his heart pounding, but his eyes were calm. Rebecca Holt approached, saluted him, tears in her eyes. "Welcome home, Viper 1. He smiled, shaking his head. "No, ma'am. Just Daniel. Emma's dad." That night, the story spread across the academy. Cadets whispered about the janitor who saved their brothers, the ghost who came back to life just long enough to teach them what real courage looked like. And in the cafeteria the next morning, when Emma ran into his arms, Daniel didn't hide anymore. He looked around the hall, saw the respect in every face, and for the first time in years, stood tall. Rebecca Holt watched from across the room. She smiled. Not as an admiral, not as a soldier, but as someone who finally understood that heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes, they carry mops.